Hi, everybody, and welcome to another Sassy Girl podcast and Tech Talk with Colleen. Today, I'm really excited to be with you guys today. In this episode, we're joined by Janine Hayden, a certified marketer, founder of Hayden Digital Group, and creator of the Lead Flow Fix system. She's bringing fire insights into why traditional funnels fail to qualify leads and how quiz funnels are rewriting the rules for coaches and consultants, right? Like, have you ever wondered why, like, your funnel fills your calendar, but not your bank account, right? Super annoying when you get calendar appointments and then you start talking to them and they're not really super qualified. So in today's session, you're going to learn why pre-qualifying leads before the call is the secret to higher conversions, how to use quizzes and AI to segment your audience by readiness and budget, the exact questions to ask to avoid no-shows and tire kickers, and Janine's Core 4 framework and just how it's helped coaches double their teams. So welcome, Janine. How are you doing today?
Hey, Colleen. Thank you. Hey, nerdlings. It's so great to be here. I'm great. Thank you.
Absolutely. So here we don't just talk systems. We build empires with style, sass, and strategy. And today's episode is a must watch if you're tired of wasting fucking. It's been a day, man. It's been a day. It's been a week. And after backpacking 19 miles, I'm still recalibrating to normal. So let's dig into this, right? So Janine, how did you build your first qualification funnel, and what really drew you to quizzes being the solution? Like, what was the problem you were finding with your first funnels?
Thank you, Colleen, for that. I'm glad to share. It was back when I was I had a client, of course, we all do, and we're just like funnel building for them. We're doing all the tech work. We're doing all the behind the scenes things, making them shine and all the things happen. And I had been working with her for a couple of years. So when she come with me with a new request, she's one of those type of people that actually know what she wants. Like, she's a TEDx speaker. She's a best-selling author. She's got all of her ducks in a row. And so when Chris says, hey, I want to do this, and, can you build me this? I don't ask. I'm just like, sure, we can do that. So we're just plugging away and we're having a conversation about about what she wanted. And it just hit me out of the blue. It's like, oh, duh, I never even asked. I didn't even ask. I'm just like, yes, ma'am, let's do this. And I didn't even ask.
It's so easy to do that when they're just saying, like, yeah, I need a funnel. So, like, from the technical standpoint, right, as a builder, right, the assumption is they know what they have, the strategy, right? Because that's right. Really the two sides of it. You have the system technical knowledge and you have the strategic concepts, right? And that's really such an like, I love that you brought that up, because so many times we get on a build call and realize that you guys don't have any strategy into how you want this done. So 100%. And that's one of the biggest things people don't realize when it comes to tech, when it comes to SaaS. SaaS is like the marriage of technical comprehension and marketing and client journey strategy, right? Because if you don't have them both, like, you could have the most technically sick funnel, yep, and it won't 100%. Convert if you don't have strategic words, whatever. There's a word there, folks.
100%, and just knowing her overall why and her goal with her business. She had recently redesigned what type of business she was building. And I felt like I was building without the playbook. I didn't know what the results were going to be. I didn't know what the grand scheme of I'm building a building without the actual blueprint. I'm just over here hammering away, putting up a wall.
Well, and that's the difference between hiring a doer or a builder versus a strategic consultant, right? And that 100%. Comes up all the time. People are like, well, why do you guys cost more versus like I can find someone on Fiverr? I'm like, because a Fiverr person's going to build you something and we're going to make sure you're actually getting the results you're looking for, because they're thinking they want a faster horse. They don't realize they actually want a car.
Exactly. 100%.
Okay, so
every day.
We now know what her end result. So what was the end result she wanted?
So the end result was she had a vision to build a coaching business of coaches, of women in business who could support you in specific ways with specific business ideas and projects. And you get matched with a coach, kind of like BetterHelp.com. You get matched with a therapist.
Oh,
this is for coaches.
Oh,
this is in the business
that's nice.
space. Yeah, and it's about women empowerment. And she already had a few coaches on board. So her result is we didn't just build a quiz funnel. We built a system. We built a strategic system that, one, identified whether they wanted to become a coach and join her team, or did they want to be coached by someone. And then before she starts handing out these free discovery calls, jump on a free call, we needed to know, okay, great. What kind of coach do they want? Are they qualified for our program? Are they actually qualified in the terms of, will they do the work, right? Because it's dependent upon exactly what she wanted and what she needed in her business to make the business move forward as a whole.
Amazing.
It's not just automations. And so it helped. In her instance, she, in 4 months, added 5 new coaches to her team.
Delightful.
It was very impressive. Yeah. So she actually was able to attract. The attraction part's not the problem. It's the actual qualifications and making sure you're talking to the right people at the right time about the right thing. Right.
Awesome. So she went from like an overbooked calendar to actually being able to grow her business. So, what do most funnels miss about human behavior?
Most funnels miss that it's an emotional decision and that they need a micro yes. Sometimes people just need to be heard, felt like they're seen, and then that micro yes that gets them to the next question.
Okay, I like it. We do, the more micro yeses, I want them to be yesing by the time they get to me, right?
Right.
Because if they're just a yes by the time they get to me, I'm exhausted, right? Because you have so much more conversation you need to have, because they still need to understand more about what you're doing, offering, what the results are going to get. And like, you can't tell them that what result they're going to get if you don't qualify them, right?
Right.
So the quiz funnel advantage, right? So I know one of the things you were telling me about it is that it makes it a little more conversational, like along with the like super nerdy love that we're qualifying and segmenting, right? Like that's what we want. Right. Now, but the customer journey side, it feels more conversational. So can you tell me about how like you're matching up like this qualifying and segmenting while keeping it in a conversational experience so that it really feels organic and not like, let me go fill out a survey of like, tell you all about me.
100%. Yeah. And we're not just talking quizzes like a questionnaire or a form. Sometimes we're talking actual chatbot conversations. And we're leading people from getting to know them and they know more about you. And we're making sure that they understand what's involved. And sometimes that's an emotional bell curve. So sometimes we're moving people, it can be an emotional bell curve to the point that they say, yes, I'm, you kind of give them that lift off. So
well, tell me more about that. Like an AI bot as a quiz.
Yeah, 100%. So this is something that I've really been playing with in the last few months, how to pull that AI into the conversation and use it as a conversational, friendly human tone. Now they're so good that you're just simply asking them, instead of jumping in and saying, what's your name? What's your email? What's your address? Where you can actually start with, hey, how's your day going? And you can lead them in a conversational tone and say, oh, great. What part of the country are you in? That's so cool there. And then you can say, well, what brings you in today? Or are you looking to get more? Or what do you think about? Or do you have? You can ask questions in a way, because that's how we find out answers, right? We want to feel like we're engaged in that conversation. And even AI at this point
Ooh, right?
can take you
Like
to that
that's
next level.
y'all combine that with the AI employee going on with high level, and like if you're
100%.
super cool, you're hanging out on Nerdly's platform using the AI employee. What?
Mhm.
So if you guys aren't using that, it has been massive. I had 2 sales calls booked because people found me on Google and called me.
Nice.
I will not answer the phone, sir. No, I will not. No. Uh, like, so it was really cool to like magically see calls on my calendar, and even in the chat log, it said, "Wow, this feels like I'm talking to a person." Like,
100%. Yeah. And
it's
you can
transformed.
even
Like,
have them back that up. When they call you and they go and they want to know, well, what's it going to cost? Well, let's back that truck up a little bit. Let's find out a little bit more about you and what you need. What are your
I
needs?
love that. So, you have your core 4 framework. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Like, what's its claim to fame, if you will?
Okay. So the core 4 came from everything kind of stemmed from that first conversation where first we got to have clarity. We got to have clarity and collect information. That's one of our things. Then we've got to be able to optimize that information. So you may have this wonderful email list, but if they're not tagged to where you can specifically send them emails that talk directly to them about what you need them to do next, you just have an email list. You have a bunch of random people. They might as well be a bunch of random people on the internet. They just happen to have known your name or heard your name at some point in their life. So that's where a lot of freebie seekers get. They get your freebie, they get the lead magnet. That's awesome. They're on your list. Now, what do you do with them? So optimizing your list is really key. That is one of the main core ingredients.
Like, if we had optimized our list, we may have realized that we had some badass people on our email list. Like, y'all, so just as a side quest, I actually met Janine. Me and Kate both met her at the Prospecting on Demand Summit in Salt Lake City. And it was bananas because that was the trip that Kate and I drove through snowstorms both ways to go hiking, right? So we met Janine out there and we absolutely just hit it off. She's a delight. I don't know what triggered that story, but like, what did you just say? Man, ADHD.
We were just talking about optimizing,
right.
and knowing who's on our email list.
Yeah. And so like when we were talking, we were sitting there, one girl was like, holy crap, did you just say you're Nerdly? Like, I've been following you guys. And this other girl showed like, yeah, no, I'm on your list for a hot minute. And I'm like, I had no idea I had people of this caliber. Right? Like, I'm thinking I'm talking to solopreneurs all the time. Like, and my background's in network marketing, right? So I got a ton of network marketers in my audience. So then I realized I have these badass agency owners in my audience on my list reading my stuff. Oh, so like you really need to. So the point of that was knowing who's on your list is important, and knowing when they opt into things that you're segmenting and that you're intentionally sending stuff out to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if I put the same, because I can tell you, because we learn really well from experience. So you don't want to put a high ticket offer in front of someone who is barely qualified for your low ticket, right? You will turn them off. They're going to feel uncomfortable. They're going to have feelings of incompetence, of like, this person doesn't know me. They don't see me, the invalidation, right? Whether or not that's the intention, right? Like, let's be real, guys. Let's be real. All right. I'll be the first to tell you, especially as a neurospicy entrepreneur, I take everything personally, right? So I'm going to see that and I'm going to tell a story in my head. oh my God, I am so not where I need to be. Like, I opted in for this freebie, and then now they're telling me that I need to spend like $10,000 a month, and like, wow, I am so not where no. Like, and that is what some people will see, because we're all stressed, we're all busy. That's just the current state. So
and the flip side of that, Colleen, I didn't mean to interrupt. The flip side of that is you have some people, like you said, that are highly skilled and highly qualified, and they don't need. If you start blasting out an email list, I mean, blasting out an email newsletter, and you're only talking to all these people about all these beginning through the front door, those type of things, and you need someone who needs support back here, they're going to think, oh yeah, she's not talking to me. So I'm going to start ignoring her emails because I know she's not talking to me. Right.
Yeah.
Kind of,
yeah. And it's crucial. It's crucial. Right. So that we'll have a whole different conversation about list segmentation, right? Because like we already talked about that when we talked about our email and how we need to email properly. We're not spamming people. Right. Right. Okay. So,
well, and then that leads to the R. So raising awareness. They need to be raising awareness about who you are and what you do. There's so much out there that we know we need to keep bringing people closer and raising awareness about what's going on currently. You know, if you have avid hikers, do they know that you just went on this fabulous hike? Do they want to follow along on social? You know, yes. Who's sitting there watching all the lives? I want to watch the lives. I want to see what you're doing and what you're tripping over.
oh man,
what your views are, you know?
Oh, it was rough. It was rough.
100%. Take them along for the ride, you know? So raising that awareness about what's currently going on in your business, where you're going, what's happening in your world, and keeping them engaged. That's what that R is. And then, of course, E is for eliminate. Just like pruning vines, pruning trees, your tree can't grow if you let all the little tendrils pop up, all these little limbs. You got to prune. You got to prune. You got to prune. You want people on that list that are engaged and are elevated. They're got that awareness. They're optimized. So whenever you're sending out an email, and even if you have two different nurture lists, you have a nurture for your advanced people and you have a nurture for your beginner people and stuff, they feel seen, heard, and you're speaking their language. You're talking to them just like you're sitting right next to them, having a intimate conversation with them and stuff. And then that only happens when you do good clarity and collection.
And that is huge, right? That engagement. So this is something that's happened with a number of my larger clients, is that if they're running ads and they're getting a bunch of new leads in, right? Like a lot of those are going to opt out, right? Like that's just the name of the game, right? So you need to make sure that if you're doing an ad push, or you've got a whole, if you're doing organic, you could also get a whole lot of new people in with organic, right? Either way. 100%. You need to make sure that you are managing how many new people to how many engaged people you are emailing, because you could send to 10 new people, and if 4 of them opt out, your email's host, right? If versus you would need to, if you're sending to your engaged list, you can send to a lot more, right? So if you send to 100 people, 3 or 4 people need to opt out of the new people, right? There's better words for this. Go watch the email management training, or watch that podcast, listen to it, use the words. We've got free resources on that, because that, I don't want to derail us. And I will, because I am very passionate about this, because I've said this so many times and people don't listen. Why is the email on high level suck? And what? It doesn't. Please just follow the rules. I promise. This is real. If you just do this, it'll be fine. Okay. So what is lead flow fix?
Okay. So that's something I've come up with recently, that I've had these, I have a quiz that I'm always tweaking, always redoing, and it's about identifying what type of quiz is best for your business. But what I found out is a lot of people still don't really know. And they're still getting on the phone with tire kickers. They're getting ghosted. They're getting a lot of those things that you get when you have a lot of freebies coming into your world. They want to see, you know, what it is, what you do, and then they just don't know if you're right for them. And so the lead flow fix is taking a look at these strategic points of touch points, basically, you know, where you're touching them, looking for gaps in either your marketing or in your clarity, you know, talking about that 4-4 framework, going through that and going through your leads and then seeing where they're coming through. So I like to see the customer journey. I want to see what your customer journey is.
You know, we're
And
all
I
about
want to
that
know,
customer journey. We want to see
oh
it
yeah,
end to end.
what's the transformation? What's your are you clear? You know, what percentage of people are booking and actually showing up? And then how many people, when you get them on the call, say, I can't afford it, or I just really wanted to find out what the cost was. I think I'm going to do this in the future, or whatever. You know, they've always got something going on. And then finding out, are you pre-qualifying leads? Because this is one of the big things, is we're just talking about this now, is that's part of the leaky bucket, is if you're not pre-qualifying, how do you know? When you get on the phone with them, are they going to be a tire kicker? How do you know?
And that's the thing, right? So what a lot of people miss, right, is they'll build their lead magnets. They'll get their opt-in, right? And they'll skip this part, which is fine when you're first starting, right? Because you if you are just getting started, you may not even know what to ask, right? So you don't want to get super bogged down with that. So if you are brand new, get the lead magnet out, just get the opt-in, get on the phone with them. You won't know what to ask. And you're going to spend so much time trying to build out this quiz funnel or build out the bot. You won't, trust me, save your money. People are going to pitch you that you need to have all this fancy stuff. And trust me, I love all my fancy tools because I am a nerd princess. You won't have the context you need until you've had some conversations. If you have not had these sales conversations that have converted and also that have that you bombed, you're going to need some bombs and you're going to need some success for you to have the context, right? I'm just adding that in because I know my audience is the gamut, right? And I just want to make sure that our baby business owners out there don't try to dive down the rabbit hole too soon and get bogged down with the tool, right? Go get your first 10 to 100 calls in, get some sales. Not even 100. Don't wait to 100. That's a lot of calls. Just get on the phone. Have the context. Get some sales. Then come back here, right? Now, then you'll have the context, because that's the thing people always miss. It's the technical and the strategic.
Exactly. And I can guarantee you can build the best quiz in the world, but unless you have context and unless you're getting your message from the market and not your mind, it's not going to convert. It's not going to make any sense. You're going to waste a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of energy on this when you could have been over here actually talking to people and recording those calls and getting the actual gold and listening to what they really need. You may have something need adjacent, which you could easily pivot.
Yeah.
And then boom, and you've got a customer.
But y'all, I cannot emphasize what freaking gold Janine just dropped. How much time I have spent in meetings with consultants about hey, what are you doing with this, with that? And then I just went to my sales calls recordings, threw all them into a GPT with our brand strategy, and was like, y'all go talk to this guy. I'm out. Right? Mm-hmm. Because you have so much knowledge in there. And if you're not reviewing your sales calls, that's, again, a different conversation.
Right.
Everyone starts somewhere. It's okay. If you didn't know, you didn't know. Now you know. And you can use Loom as your call recorder now. So you got no excuse saying it's too expensive. So, all right. we talked about that. So what are like your top 3 questions you like to have in a quiz?
Well, I like to make sure that I have at least one question that's completely aligned with the outcome that we're trying to achieve. So we want to have, I mean, you can have a super simple quiz, and quizzes don't need to be more than 5, 7 questions. Honestly, I don't have the bandwidth for more.
Let me clarify. Like, what are your 3 favorite quiz questions to reveal buying readiness?
Oh, okay. I just flat up ask them, do you have, like, if I'm trying to qualify for a high ticket client, I'll ask them, do you currently have a proven $2,000 offer or more?
Oh, but
So
Janine, that feels so direct, and like, should I be asking such a direct and upfront question?
100%. I mean, you might not ask it right up front. I do, because I want them to know that, hey, this is a serious deal. Right?
I love it.
And it isn't just to qualify them for my program, but I need to qualify them on the amount of, are they shiny object syndrome people?
Yep.
Or are they serious business people?
And that's
I mean,
the thing,
that
as your offer grows, as you're in a higher ticket, and even in a
Mhm.
lower ticket, y'all, especially because qualify, make sure that they're actually got what you need. So how can a coach tell if their funnel is leaking leads?
How can they tell if they're leaking leads? Well, mostly they're leaking if they have a lot of people want to book calls. They want to book that free discovery call, and you don't have any way of qualifying them. So then you're getting on that call, or they're last minute ghosting you, or they actually show up to the call and say, oh, you know, I'm so sorry. I've decided to completely change my entire lifestyle and direction in life. And so I'm no longer going to need your stuff, but I'm happy to sit here and talk your leg off for 30, 45 minutes, you know, for no reason at all. What have you got? Nothing. You got nothing. And you're not getting sales, then you're leaking leads. And it's not always a sales conversation. It's talking to the right people. You've got to line up your people. You've got to pre-qualify your people to get on that phone or Zoom, however you do your presentation. So that's just a small part of it. Plus, they need to know who you are. You got to pre-warm them up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you don't have pre-warmed people you're talking to, I mean, if they're just cold and they don't have any clue even who you are and what the heck you're about or what you can offer to do for them and stuff, I think you missed a few steps.
So what would you say are like your tech stack basics?
I use GHL. I'm a huge, been in it since 2020. Scoring logic. Yeah. I like to score quizzes based on the outcomes. And you know what? Here's the insider secret. The outcome can be the same, especially if you're a beginner.
Ooh.
It just allows you to pre-tag them about how close they are to what you can build on the backside. So even if you're a beginner, you can give them that free, all of your outcomes can go to a free assessment.
Oh, that one's going on a sticky note right now. I love that.
They don't have to be separate. You can have 3 outcomes, but don't have 5 or 7 unless you're actually working on a course or a book that you're going to actually feed them into a specific chapter or a start here on the back side of your paywall. So quizzes aren't just for the front side, they're also for the back side.
So if someone's looking to hire a quiz funnel builder, right? What do they need to look for?
Well, they need to look for someone who's not going to just get on ChatGPT and throw in the business and here's all the questions. It takes a lot more than that. It takes a lot more strategy. There needs to be more thought. They need to be someone who is invested in your business almost as much as you are. They invested in seeing you grow and learn and get the results you need to make money, to move forward, to grow that business.
Say that again for the folks in the back. If you hire someone
they have
for
to be
a one-time thing, out of nowhere, they're not invested in your success. And that is something that we always say time and time again. We are here for long-term relationships with our clients, with our partners, with even with the people we introduce to our community, especially so, right? Like, we vet people,
100%.
we make sure, we're here for the long-term situation. So, Janine, this has been absolutely fire, right? One last gem. What do you wish every coach or consultant knew about funnels in 2025?
I wish that they knew that they didn't have to be so complicated, and that they really can be automated way of freeing up their own energy and their time, but that they don't have to learn how to do it all themselves. That they need to hire for the right part.
I love that. All right, friends, if you want to stop chasing leads and start closing them, drop fix below and grab Janine's free audit at leadflowfix.com/quiz. You'll walk away with instant clarity on what's working and what needs to go. All right, Janine, loved having you. And again, you guys, she's in our community, so you can find her there. And if you guys have any questions, you'll always know, worst case scenario, you message the Nerdly page or the team, and we'll get you to the resource that you're looking for. Right? So with that, later, nerds.
Thank you. Loved it.